Greetings all, this is Harry Nick, and I'm joined by Justin. How are you, dude?
Yeah, not too bad, man.
Excellent. We're here to look at some more reveals for the Star Wars Legion unit from the FFG website. Here is the T-47 AIRSPEEDER, and it looks pretty cool, I must say.
It's nice to see them in a place that isn't Hoth.
Anyway, let's scroll down and take a look at the spread we have here. First of all, this mini looks fantastic.
It really does,
Hang on, getting the zoom right. There we go. That's perfect, Nick. Well done. Once again, we have the channels cut into the base and the little divots to put the maneuver template in.
We also have forward and backwards.
Indeed. So, it's interesting, this. Maybe that means you can deploy it face forward or backwards, but I can't imagine these could fly backwards. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I'm going to assume that that's not the case.
Yeah.
And unless something specifically says I can fly backwards, this can't fly backwards. I mean, look at it, Justin.
Why can't it fly backwards?
Because all the stuff's pointing backwards. It must go forward. It's a shark. It needs to keep moving forward or it dies. Which is a terrible flaw in the design of the Rebellion technology there.
Yeah.
But that's just it. That's just it, man. Let's take a look down at the spread and see what we've actually got here. So, these are units which have not previously been revealed. So let's actually go through everything we have here. We have armor, which means regular hits get cancelled. It only suffers critical hits.
Yep.
Arsenal 2. Now, this was a bit hard to read, but we worked it out before. When attacking, each of your units in this squad may use up to 2 different weapons. As in Arsenal 2 means you can use up to this many weapons instead of just one.
Yep.
Which is very cool. It only has one attack, range 1 to 3, some kind of laser cannon, AS/11 device laser cannon.
Yeah, but one of these cards...
Yes, one of these cards over here will give you more attacks.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet it's probably this one. Oh, no, that's a hard point. So these two ones here are hard points, meaning you can take cannons.
Yep.
It also means that these face-down cards are probably extra cards in the pack.
Yep.
It's worth noting. In the previous video I did, we were a bit confused over whether those extra cards were actually more cards in the pack. It would appear that there are indeed more cards in the pack.
Yeah.
Long-range scanner, comms jammer, again, good cards to have across the whole thing with different factions. These are cards that come in the speeder bike pack. I'm glad they also come in this.
Yep.
They can both go on this, but you can only take one, which means you can either jam your opponent or get orders from across the battlefield. Both very potent on a ship that flies a very long distance.
Yeah, definitely.
Going through the rest of these, cover 1, which means it always has that cover bonus whenever it is defending. Immune to blast and melee. Of course, it's immune to melee.
It's flying along at, a high altitude.
That's right. You can't just whack it with your fancy laser sword.
Yep.
Sorry, Vader. Doesn't work. Speeder 2. Now, speeder refers to a minimum height threshold that it can just fly over.
Yeah.
The bikes have speeder 1. This has speeder 2, which I would assume is like any sort of smallish building. It doesn't just fly over cover. I would assume speeder 1 is just it can fly over any shoulder height cover that troopers use.
Yep.
And this can fly over any like small buildings and causeways or small cliffs or something like that.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. It has 5 cogs, which is something to do with mechanical integrity.
Yep.
7 health overall. Yes, on the defense, the surges converts to results, which is good. No offensive surge, and we have white dice on defense, which is fine. That all makes sense. Its base attack is range 1 to 3, 3 red dice, 3 black dice.
Yep.
It sounds really good, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's got a hard point, so it can have up to 1 more thing. Interesting that this has a hard point. Honestly, beyond these cannons, I never thought of these having a bigger arsenal. I guess it's this.
You've got the tow cable, or like it might be another cannon, or like a...
Perhaps, I guess you could convert this into another cannon. I don't know if within Star Wars lore, snowspeeders ever had different weapons instead of the tow cable. Again, if any of you guys in the comments know about this, I'm not really big into the EU, so if you guys know, oh yes, in this book, in this novel, they put a cannon on the back of the snowspeeder and it won the day. So these 2 hardpoint cards, I would assume one of these is tow cable.
You've also got a missile looking
thing. Well, that's
token.
That's the tech.
Oh no, as in the little cardboard cutout.
Yes. that could be like a reload or like an extra, or like a munitions. You have so many shots with something.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, we don't know what all these tokens correlate to just yet.
Yeah.
But this is interesting here. This looks like that could be a tow cable symbol. It looks like a bit of a hook, which is probably this symbol here.
Yeah. Definitely that symbol.
Yeah.
Also, just to point out, this ship just flying by itself is 175 points.
So it's quite expensive. I believe it's actually the most expensive unit barring the commanders so far.
But I mean, it's a speeder, so
it makes sense.
Speeder.
I actually have to say, I wasn't sure this was going to go in the game. Okay, ages ago, several months back, we had a leaked image of Wave 1, which included the ATST and the Snowspeeder, and I wasn't sure if that was real or not.
Yeah.
It's now confirmed to be real because that's what Wave 1 includes. And I was a bit confused at the Snowspeeder because it's very fast. So fast. And you look at the size of the play area, it doesn't make... It's not crazy. I mean, size-wise, it fits into the game.
Yeah. But
the idea is this could just jet across the entire map in 2 turns. If you think about the kind of speed... You see them flying at in the movie. Like there is a shot in Empire Strikes Back of rebel troopers running out onto the tundra of Hoth with snowspeeders flying overhead.
Yeah.
And they are flying
they're booking it
easily like 10, 20 times the speed of the guys running on the ground.
Yeah.
And in the game, it's referenced as having a speed of 3. So it's interesting. The way I look at this is it's a similar thing with X-Wing. They've gone for function over realism. Realistically, this could fly probably so much faster than Speed 3 within the game of Legion. But let's look at it how it would function within a battle. Let's look at it how it functioned in the game. And this is probably the best outcome. Let's have a compromise on fluff, on how it should function, to properly represent what's best for the game.
I agree.
That's the way I think of it.
Yeah.
And that's what they've gone for here, which is quite cool. Let's scroll down because we got some lovely high definition shots of it. That looks really cool there. Worth noting, there's no interiors. We have solid windows here, and the artists for these have clearly gone through a lot of trouble to make that look good. Probably wouldn't look as good if you just did a solid black, but if you're a beginner painter, that might be a good option for you. And again, another nice high definition shot of what the Snowspeeder looks like. Now, I just wanted to point this out as well. Now, I'm not going to include images of this because it's a separate product by a separate company and I don't want to get hit for copyright. But there's a company in Japan called Bandai, and they make model kits. They make 1 in 48 scale Snowspeeders, and in the next video, we're going to talk about the ATST. They make a 1 in 48th model of that as well, which is just a little bit bigger than 35mm scale for wargaming.
Yeah.
And that includes an interior, and that includes flaps that actually function.
Yeah, the little flappy flaps.
Now, that works out to be a bit cheaper than this thing, but that doesn't obviously come with supplementary game material, tokens and cards, all that kind of stuff. So it's not a straight comparison between the two, but it'll be interesting to see whether that is a viable model, whether this model is better than the Bandai model kit, whether... you could say buy the Bandai model and supplement out just the model itself to fly in Legion if you happen to want a better quality thing.
Well, I'm also maybe considering maybe using the Snowspeeder or the AT or the Walker as additional things to put in the game.
Absolutely.
As cover or something like that.
Yeah, like destroyed ships and stuff.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to buy an expansion pack to get terrain.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't mind spending a bit less and getting a decent model kit and using those spare parts as well. It's also worth noting that because the Bandai model kit will have lots of different parts, it's all snap-print, that kind of stuff, it's going to have all the parts separate. I would imagine that these FFG model kits, and we don't know this for sure yet, but I'm just speculating here, that they're probably more solid parts.
Yeah.
I would imagine the ATSC, for example, has the legs as a separate part that you just push in to the main body. This probably just has these cannons as separate parts.
Hopefully.
Probably these sections here. Probably the turret on the back, the jets on the back, but apart from that, probably one solid piece for the body. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a lot of separate parts from what we can
No.
see here. And again, these might be representations of the resin casting, so again, that makes it a bit hard to tell.
Yeah.
But these are factors we need to look at. We do have options for separate models within the game. And obviously, yes, you're going to have to buy the proper version of these expansions in order to fly them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all the legal cards and the base and all that kind of stuff. And it probably wouldn't be legal to fly these models from Bandai as your FFG things on the FFG bases. I mean, obviously FFG are going to say, no, you need to have our proper models, which makes perfect sense. It's, you know, it's their game material. It's what they're going to want to do. But for the sake of casual tournaments, or even most game tournaments in a shop, you could just have the official model in your bag while you fly what could possibly be a nicer looking model on the table, which is worth considering.
Have the flaps deployed and things
Yeah,
like
that kind of stuff. Oh, the Bandai kit has like the air flaps.
Yeah.
I believe the canopy opens. You get an interior with the pilots and everything, which is quite cool. It'll just depend on A, whether that kit looks better, and B, whether the scale difference is going to be enough to make it look bad on a Legion table. And that's pretty much it. Anyway, guys, that is the T-47 Snowspeeder. It looks awesome. I'm most hyped for it. Like everything else in this expansion, it's coming out the first quarter next year. Like, subscribe, like our Facebook page, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.